Have you ever wondered which countries are the most vulnerable to flooding? Today, we're unveiling the top 5 where water is a constant threat, not just from the skies, but also from rising seas and swollen rivers. Welcome as we dive into this next video, Flood Apocalypse, 5 countries on the brink of disaster. In this video, we explore the dynamic and often devastating world of flooding as we count down the countries most at risk. What makes these nations so susceptible to this natural disaster? How do they cope? And what can be learned from their resilience and responses? We've dug deep to bring you a comprehensive look at each country's unique challenges and strategies. At number 5, the Netherlands. Look at the Netherlands, a country famed for its battle against the sea. The Netherlands has a long history of battling rising waters with innovations like the Zuiderzee Works and the Delta Works, which are considered marvels of engineering. These massive structures not only protect against storm surges but also manage the intricate water systems that crisscross the nation. In the wake of climate change, these efforts have intensified with new projects focusing on sustainable urban drainage systems and green roofs in cities like Amsterdam and Rotterdam. Personal stories from residents highlight how living below sea level impacts daily life and instills a collective responsibility towards water management. The country's proactive approach provides a model of innovative water management and flood prevention strategies that many other nations look to for inspiration. Number 4. Bangladesh. Bangladesh's struggle with floods is annual, with the vast majority of the country lying on the floodplains of the mighty Brahmaputra, Ganges, and Meghna rivers. Each monsoon season, communities brace for the inevitable flooding, which brings both fertile soils and destruction. Efforts like the Floating Schools Project illustrate local ingenuity in adapting to these conditions, with schools built on boats ensuring education continues regardless of water levels. Stories from individuals like Aisha, a farmer in northern Bangladesh, describe the cyclical recovery and loss, painting a vivid picture of resilience in the face of recurring floods. Despite these challenges, Bangladesh is a leader in community-based adaptation strategies, developing early warning systems and flood-resistant agricultural practices that are setting examples globally. Coming in at number 3, Vietnam. In third place, Vietnam, a nation marked by its lengthy coastline and tropical storms. Vietnam's exposure to hydrometeorological hazards is compounded by its geography, which includes a long, narrow coastline and major river deltas. The country frequently faces the double impact of upstream river floods and tidal surges from typhoons. The personal story of Min, a fisherman in the Mekong Delta, illustrates the abrupt shift from normalcy to chaos as floods disrupt livelihoods and displace communities. Despite these challenges, Vietnam has made significant strides in integrating flood risk management with development planning, aiming to safeguard its development gains. The country's efforts to bolster rural and urban flood defenses and improve emergency response measures are critical in protecting its growing population and economic infrastructure. Number 2. Egypt. Number 2 is Egypt, where the legendary Nile's blessings are increasingly mixed with threats, and we aren't just talking about Nile crocodiles. The Nile's annual flooding has been a lifeline for Egyptian agriculture for thousands of years, historically depositing nutrient-rich silt across its floodplain. However, modern problems such as dam construction and increased habitation in flood-prone areas complicate this ancient equilibrium. Local narratives, like that of Mahmoud, a farmer in the Nile Delta, shed light on the modern challenges of farming in flood-prone areas, including dealing with unpredictable flood patterns and the impact of saltwater intrusion which threatens traditional farming methods. Egypt is investing in new technologies and infrastructure to manage these risks, striving to protect its historical heritage and densely populated delta regions from potential disasters. Finally, our country that you should avoid travel the most if you don't want to get washed away. Myanmar. Finally, Myanmar, a country frequently brushed by monsoon's might. Myanmar, with its extensive river networks and coastal regions, is exceptionally prone to flooding, particularly during the monsoon season. Recent events have seen rivers bursting their banks, inundating communities and farmlands. The narrative of that, a teacher in a small village near the Irrawaddy River, brings to life the recurring devastation and the community-driven responses that include makeshift flood barriers and elevated homes. Despite political turmoil, the country continues to develop community-based strategies to cope with the annual floods, emphasizing local knowledge and preparedness. The response to such disasters is becoming more organized, with efforts to improve forecasting, emergency preparedness, and community resilience gaining ground despite political and economic constraints. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the countries most affected by flooding. If you found this video insightful, please consider subscribing for more content on how different parts of the world cope with environmental challenges. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video to help spread awareness about the global impacts of flooding. Hit the subscribe button and bell icon to get notified about our latest videos, where we continue to explore the most pressing environmental issues facing our planet today. Your engagement helps us bring these critical travel tips to more viewers.